There are 5 mistakes that ruin your DJI Mini 5 Pro footage. And in this video, I'm going to show you what they are and how to fix each of them. So diving right in, mistake number 1 is jerky drone moves. I teach a drone filmmaking course, so I watch a lot of beginner drone videos. And one of the most common problems I see is that the drone shots simply aren't smooth. There's a lot of jerky starts and stops to the movement, or the movement isn't smooth and continuous throughout the clip. And movement that's not smooth really takes you out of the immersive feeling of a drone video and instantly lets you know it's not professional. So you want to avoid it at all costs. Now, how do you actually fix jerky movement? Well, one of the most important things to do to fix it is to use the right gain and expo tuning settings on your Mini 5 Pro. The default gain and expo tuning settings are fine for just flying your drone around, but they're not great for shooting cinematic video and will make it a lot harder to avoid jerky footage. And you can find these settings in the settings menu under control, then gain and expo tuning. Now, after flying DJI drones for 7 years, I've found a set of settings that make it a lot easier to get smooth cinematic shots. And to save you the time, I'm not going to go through all of these settings here. There's a lot of settings, but you can download my best settings completely for free in my DJI Mini 5 Pro cinematic settings checklist, along with all the other settings besides gain and expo tuning. And I'll put a link where you can download it again for free down in the description. These settings are just going to make it a lot easier to smoothly ease into and out of shots, especially the expo settings, because they basically decrease the sensitivity of the joysticks on your remote when they're close to the center, and then increase them as you go further out. Another thing that will massively help to get smooth movements and avoid jerky motion is to practice doing drone moves until it's just second nature to put the drone exactly where you want it to be. Now, obviously, this does take some time to get down. It takes quite a bit of practice to get good at it, but just go out and practice with your drone regularly. Push yourself to do drone moves that are a little bit more complex than you're used to, and you'll eventually master smooth drone moves. Another tip for smoother drone shots is that you can use the spotlight mode, where you can just select a subject on the screen of the remote and the drone will automatically keep the camera pointed at it, so you can simply focus on moving the drone around and the drone will usually smoothly keep the camera pointed at the subject instead of having to keep track of everything manually. Another tip for using spotlight mode is that if you're shooting a static subject, like for example a house or a big rock or something like that, if you fly the drone back and forth a bit, it will convert the tracking box around the subject into a GPS point, and then the movements will be even smoother because the drone can mathematically calculate where to point the camera rather than having to optically track the subject. And when all else fails and you end up with a shot that isn't perfectly smooth, and that does happen sometimes, even for me after flying drones quite a bit, one of my favorite tricks is to stabilize the shot in post-processing. This is something you can do in just about any video editor: DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, Final Cut, all those different softwares. There's a stabilization effect that you can just apply to a clip, and it will smooth it out the rest of the way so it looks perfectly seamless and smooth. And if you apply all of these tips, you'll have much smoother drone shots that look much more professional. So now that we have jerky drone moves solved, mistake number 2, and this is again something I see all the time in beginner drone videos, is clipping out the highlights of your image. When you're clipping the highlights in your shots, it means that there's no detail there because it is just way too bright. So imagine if there's some clouds or snow or something, just the whole area of the clouds is pure white. You can't see anything there. You can't see any detail there, any texture there, and that really does not look good. So how do you fix this? Well, the main way to avoid this is to correctly expose your drone shots so that you're not overexposing and blowing out the highlights. And there's a couple different tools on your Mini 5 Pro that you can use for this. One of them is the histogram, which is basically a little graph of the brightness in your image. A lot of people get scared by it because they don't know exactly what it does, but it's actually pretty simple. So on the histogram, left to right is how bright or dark it is. All the way on the right side, you have your brightest highlights, and all the way on the left side, you have your darkest shadows. And in the middle, it's kind of your midtones that aren't either super bright or super dark. And then top to bottom is how much data is in that brightness range. So if your data is all bunched up on one side or the other, it means that it's either very bright or very dark. And if it's touching the right side, it means that you're losing some details in the highlights. And if it's touching the left side, that means you're losing some details in the shadows, but that usually doesn't look quite as bad as losing a bunch of detail in your highlights. Now, ideally, you want the mountain of data to be kind of in the middle of your histogram. But to keep from clipping the highlights, you just want it to not be all bunched up on the right side. And another helpful feature to keep from clipping your highlights is to turn on zebras, which will paint little zebra stripes on any part of your image that's overexposed and clipping and losing data. And to turn both of these on, you'll go into the settings menu under camera, and you can turn them on there. Another key to not losing detail in your highlights is to shoot in either D-Log-M or Hybrid Log Gamma color profile on your Mini 5 Pro, both of which keep a lot more dynamic range, or in other words, how bright and dark parts of your image you can see at the same time compared to normal color profile. Basically, log color profile doesn't add so much contrast to the shot, keeps more detail in the highlights and shadow ranges, and avoids clipping the highlights, but when you're using log, you'll have to color grade it in post. But if you want to get high quality videos, you'll want to be color grading your footage anyway. Now, it's not always possible to completely avoid clipping the highlights, especially if it's in some part of your shot that's not the main subject. Sometimes some part of the image is just going to be brighter, but you want to try to avoid it as much as possible, especially on your subject, the main focus of your image. You don't want the highlights there to be clipping. And if you want to learn even more about how to shoot professional cinematic videos with your drone, I put together a completely free 45-minute drone filmmaking training where I share my top 10 secrets to getting cinematic drone videos with your Mini 5 Pro or whatever drone you have. The link to that is down in the description. Again, it's completely free, no strings attached, so go check it out. And moving on, mistake number 3 is not having a clear subject. I see so many drone videos where they just feel like they were randomly shot without much planning. They're kind of a shot of something. There's something over here that might be the main subject, but it's half out of the frame and there's really nothing interesting to look at. Don't do that. Don't do that. Make sure that you know what you are shooting with your drone and intentionally frame your shot so that your eye is drawn to the subject, to what you're filming, and isn't distracted by other things in the shot. This really goes back to basic photography and cinematography principles of framing your shots intentionally to exclude certain things that you don't want to see and include a specific subject that you want your viewer to focus on. Subjects in your drone shot can be anything from a building, a person, a car, a river, a boat, a waterfall, a bridge, just something to focus on. Or it can even be just a general landscape and skyline, but you need to make sure that you're thinking about what your viewer is actually going to look at. One thing that I like to do in my drone videos is to intentionally include subjects in the drone shots. I'll have someone go and stand in the drone shot, or stand in the drone shot myself, or walk through the drone shot, or shoot a car driving through a landscape. All of these things give your eye something to focus on and make your shot much more interesting than just filming the same landscape without, say, a car or a person in it. And it can make your shots even more interesting if you add something brightly colored to the shot, because it very quickly draws your eye to it. And sometimes it's actually better to fly your drone at a lower altitude to make your shots more interesting. Just because you're technically allowed to fly up to 400 feet above the ground doesn't mean you always need to be at 400 feet. Sometimes you can get a better shot by bringing your drone down to a lower altitude, making your subject bigger in the shot. So next time you're out flying, try getting some drone shots from a lower altitude as well as at 400 feet. So moving on, mistake number 4 is doing an absolutely terrible job editing and color grading your drone videos, not trimming off the bad parts of the clips when you're editing them together, not color grading the footage at all, just bad editing in general. Not very many people realize that fully half of what makes the drone shots you see in DJI launch videos and all that stuff so cinematic is the editing and color grading. And it's something that most drone pilots almost entirely ignore. I've seen so many beginner drone videos where they leave on the beginning or end of a clip where they're just kind of starting their drone move and it's kind of jerky, or the drone isn't moving in the beginning moving and then it kind of starts moving and then it changes a little bit halfway through the clip. Don't do that. That does not look good, does not look professional at all. Instead, you'll want to make sure that you trim your clips. Cut off the beginning of the clip where you're just starting the move or just sitting there, and trim off the end of the clip once you've stopped the move, let go of the sticks or whatever. And cut out any parts of the clip where you're just randomly moving the camera around to the next shot. You want each clip in your video to be one smooth, consistent movement. Now, it's okay if you change the movement a little bit during the clip, but you want to make sure that it's smooth and consistent and cut out any parts where it's just doing some random thing and it's not the main drone shot. And this even goes back to how you are shooting your videos. You want to shoot them intentionally. When I'm out shooting, I'm going to start this drone move, start the shot, and then we're going to hold it for 10 seconds or something like that. And then we're going to end the drone clip, and then we'll go and get another shot, rather than just sort of flying your drone around aimlessly and then trying to somehow get some halfway decent clips out of it when you're editing. Also, another pro editing tip, you don't necessarily need to include 30-second, 1 minute long, one-take drone clips unless there's something really interesting happening in that shot. Generally, I like to edit each individual drone clip to be quite a bit shorter, generally somewhere between 2 and 12 seconds long, because that makes your drone videos a lot more interesting and it's a lot more likely to keep viewers' attention. A lot of times I'll actually speed up longer drone clips to fit in a shorter space and make them more interesting. And another thing you'll want to avoid when you're editing is jump cuts, where you cut between two very similar clips. That doesn't look good, doesn't look professional at all, so you want to avoid that. And what you'll want to do instead is cut between two different shots. Like, for example, you might cut between a really wide shot of the subject and then a tighter shot where you've flown the drone in closer, or you're using the telephoto camera on drones that have that. Or you might want to cut between two different scenes, two different subjects, so that you don't have two very, very similar shots from the same angle, the same framing of the same subject, because again, that really breaks the flow of your video and just doesn't look great. And to get the best results, you'll also need to color grade your drone shots. A lot of beginner drone videos that I see have very little to no color adjustment done to them, and that's fine if you just want some nice little fun video of your cat running around the yard. Can you film that with a drone? Probably, I don't know, they might run away. Anyway, that aside, if you want to create truly professional videos and get the best results, even if you're shooting in normal color profile instead of log, you still want to color grade your drone shots. This is what a video shot in normal color profile on the Mini 5 Pro looks like before color grading and then after color grading. And this is what a video shot in log, again on the Mini 5 Pro, looks like before color grading and then after color grading. So as you can see, it makes a huge difference no matter if you're shooting in normal color profile or in log. At minimum, when you're color grading, you'll want to bump up the contrast a little bit, maybe boost the shadows, pull down the highlight a bit, and then add some cinematic colors. And one of the easiest ways to do that is with LUTs, which are basically little color grading presets that work in just about any video editor and can give you cinematic colors with a lot less fiddling around. You can just apply LUTs to your footage and in just a couple clicks, give your footage a cinematic look that would take a lot of work building it manually. And I've actually built my own custom Flying Filmmaker LUT pack specifically for color grading drone videos. If you're interested in that, link is down in the description, but you don't necessarily have to use my LUT pack. There's all sorts of LUTs out there, but those are ones that I do use personally. And you don't have to use LUTs at all. You can create all of those looks manually in video editing software like DaVinci Resolve. But if we went into all the details of how to do that, we'd be here all day long. But I do teach my full drone editing and color grading process in both DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro inside my drone filmmaking course, Flying Filmmaker. And if you want to check that out, link is down in the description. But moving on from editing and color grading, drone video mistake number 5 is boring drone moves. I see so many drone videos where some of the shots are simply the drone sitting in one spot and just spinning around in circles. That looks terrible. The movement is way too fast to really be able to see what's in the frame, and it just doesn't look that good to spin the camera around in circles. It's like just holding your iPhone and just spinning around and trying to get a good shot like that. It doesn't really look very good. So How do we fix this? Well, the drone can move. So always be moving your drone in some direction while you're filming, not just panning the camera back and forth. If you do want to get a panning shot, let's say across a landscape, instead of just having the drone sit in one place and spinning around, if you fly forward and very slowly turn as you fly forwards, it will create a much more dynamic shot, and the drone won't be spinning so fast that you can't see what's going on. You can also fly side to side and slowly turn to get a similar effect that will make different layers of the scene move relative to each other, give it a lot more depth, and make the whole thing look a lot more professional than just sitting in one place and spinning around. And if you want to see my top 10 cinematic drone moves to make your videos look like they were shot by a pro, you can click right here to find out how to do them. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe for more videos like this. Make sure to go check out all the free stuff I mentioned earlier in this video. All of it's down in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.